Hey, what's up? This is Sully from Godsmack. Strap on those boots, baby, because you are now in the trenches of the war room with the one and only Mistress Carrie right here on the Mistress Carrie podcast.
What's up? This is Joe Rogan, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Her hair so lovely, pretty eyes.
Hey, this is Brent from Shinedown, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie. Hey, Carrie, go put your bra on, girl.
Hey, this is Steven Tyler, and you be listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
What's up? This is Aaron from Stain, and you're listening to Mistress Carrie.
Hi, everybody. This is Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters, and you're listening to the one, the only Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is David from the band Disturbed, and you're listening to the baddest bitch in Boston, Mistress Carrie.
Hi, Bruce Dickinson here from Iron Maiden. Yes, indeed, Miss Whiplash herself, Mistress Carrie, is here to unchain your brain.
Hi, this is Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. You're listening to Mistress Carrie.
This is Dennis Leary. You are listening to my favorite, Mistress Carrie.
Hey, this is Corey from Stone Sour, and you have the privilege of listening to Mistress Carrie.
Oh, God. Oh, yeah.
Hey, it's Mistress Carrie, reporting for duty from MCHQ for episode 203 of the Mistress Carrie podcast. And before we get to this week's guest, Leigh Kakaty from Pop Evil, I want to let you know about all of the cool new merch that you can find in the online shop at mistresscarrie.com. All new designs of baby onesies just in time for Father's Day, 3/4 sleeve jerseys, and brand new pullover hoodies. You'll also find roll-up Mistress Carrie blankets, perfect for the saddlebags or to take to your next barbecue. And the store is still stocked with t-shirts and tank tops, trucker hats and visors, pint glasses and shot glasses, concert bags, and so much more. Just go to mistresscarrie.com and click shop. Leigh Kakaty from Pop Evil is making his third appearance on the show. You can also find him on episode 53 and 143. Leigh and I caught up just before the start of the Flesh and Bone tour. And as Pop Evil are celebrating the 1-year anniversary of their latest album, Skeletons, Leigh told me all about work on the band's upcoming 8th studio album. We also talked about the departure of their former drummer, Hayley Cramer, and what it takes to step behind the drum kit of Pop Evil. We also talked about the music business and mental health, sports and cannolis, the Boston Marathon, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and so much more. So allow me to reintroduce you to Leigh Kakaty from Pop Evil. Mr. Leigh Kakaty.
Yes.
How are you?
Real good.
It's good
awesome
to see your
to get
face.
to talk to you.
Yeah.
It's great to see yours, always.
It's been a while. How are you holding up? You guys are getting ready to go out on the road.
Yeah, we're getting ready to go out on the road. It's been a while. It's been a few months, so I'm excited to kind of get back at it and get after it here. The spring summer push is always exciting and usually the most fun to tour. So it's we're excited for this next chapter, man. Get out.
I know that you grew up in a climate that has seasons.
Yeah.
Some parts of the United States do not. They have like warm and that's all they have. But for people that don't understand what spring means, growing up with winter, it's like a whole happiness pill just swallowed down.
It's like the stones have been lifted off your shoulders, man. You're ready to kind of, you've been cooped up, man, for about 3 months. It feels like it just every day is dreary and cloudy and the sun's out and it's just like, that spring fever is real. No doubt about it.
And a lot of arena tours, just a lot of bands in general, try to avoid, real cold weather climates, not because they don't want to come hang out with us, because logistically the tour bus could get stuck in the snow and things could just get trashed.
Yeah, we've definitely been through that over the years, for sure. It's definitely not fun touring the northern states in the winter, no doubt about it. But sometimes, man, you don't have a choice. The northern states are hungry for rock. They always have been, and certainly in Mass where you're at. And it's just you just tough it up and just do it. So it's just we've done both. We've toured the South in the winter, and we've toured the North. Just at the end of the day, whoever's excited to listen to you rock it, and you just try to, as a vocalist, keep your throat as cool as possible, and just get after it.
How were the holidays for the family?
It's great, man. Everyone was good. It was great to kind of have a little time off, and I spent a lot of it though working on the new music. So Pop Evil 8 is on the horizon, and really excited about that. But it was great to recharge and just take some time. Obviously, Hayley left the band for a little bit, so it was a bit of a bummer to have to deal with that. But it was great to have the time off to kind of get things settled and get ready for this next chapter of Pop Evil without her.
Do you mind if I ask you about that and how her relationship with the band is?
You can ask me anything. Yeah, I mean, we're great. I mean, I think that for Hayley, obviously you'd have to talk to her about her own reasons. It was definitely a surprise to me. We weren't planning on it, but life's tough in general, and certainly being in a rock band, the commitment that is Pop Evil is very demanding, and it's a lot of hours. And for Hayley personally, it was a lot of hours away from her friends and family over the pond. It's a lot of commitment for her, and she spent a lot of time here in the U.S. when her family's all in England. And we wish her the best, man. Obviously, she's been great for us, and it's been awesome. But totally understand that she's got to do what's best for her. And she just recently got married as well, so trying to spend a little more time to really dive into her family and setting it up. It's really tough to do when you're away and you have the demands of being in a touring band. So, again, big bummer, but, the show must go on, and it's time for the band to kind of just gear up and get ready for this next chapter for us. And since COVID, man, it's and not to keep bringing up that word, but for a lot of bands, there's been changes, and we're definitely one of those bands that since that time, a lot of changes have happened. And, hopefully our fans understand that, the band members that are here are committed to them, and we're committed to the future, and also preserving our sound that we've created, 7 albums before it, to give our fans the best Pop Evil, no matter what the situation. So we're definitely looking forward. Obviously, in a couple of days, when we take that first show, we are playing with Blake Allison, who is the drummer for Egypt Central and the singer of Devour the Day. So Blake has played with us before, and we're excited to kind of have him on board. He's a straight pro, brings a lot to the table, and we're just going to take it day by day. And, whether, again, same thing with Joey. When we lost our bass player, Joey stepped in to play bass for us, and we've just been kind of day at a time. If it works, great, we'll keep going. If it doesn't, then we'll have to make a move. But certainly Joey and Blake thus far have been gracious to keep the Pop Evil torch rolling, and whatever they could do to kind of extend that and help, they've been nothing but kind. And having Joey now become more a part of Pop Evil has been a blessing. He's certainly super talented, and he's a great guy, and he's been a great addition. And now adding Blake, I think it's just gonna hopefully just add to that. Joey and Blake have always been one together. They've been united, and Blake has been with us behind the scenes, but now to have him a little more in the forefront. I mean, I'm excited. Blake and I are very close, and to have another brother on board to help get Pop Evil where it needs to be. I'm excited for the future, man. These guys are great, and it feels like just a natural addition. And I know for Dave and I, who are, been in Pop Evil for a long time, we're definitely excited about the future with these guys. So, here we go. Let's get it started.
Everybody that's listening at one point or another has looked for a job. And when you're trying to find a drummer for Pop Evil, you can't just go on LinkedIn.
We've had a lot of messages and a lot of drummers who definitely want to do it, and maybe they can, but they don't understand the aspect that is living together. The music and playing on stage is the easy part, right? I mean, I don't want to say anyone can do it, but that's the easy part, is getting along with each other. And even from Hayley, and Hayley being from Europe, I'm sure that she's got her own stories of it was like a Michigan brotherhood. And even though Blake and Joey aren't from Michigan, they brought us on our first tour when Pop Evil started all those years ago. I mean, our first tour was with Egypt Central. So those guys have been real close to us. I know they feel like family to us, vice versa. So it is very much a big part of it, man. It's touring the world. It's being on a tour bus, cramped spaces. Sometimes you got to be in vans. Sometimes you got to be in no dressing room, no showers. You got to make sure that you can you can get along with each other, and especially at our working on our eighth album, the last thing you want to do is argue and fight with people. I mean, at this stage in our game, and I'm sure any bands that have been together a long time, you get to a point in your life in general, like you just don't want to fight with people anymore. It's not worth it. There's nothing personal about it. There's no, I'm out to get you, you're out to get me. It's simple. This business is very tough. It's very competitive, and to be around as long as we have, is a huge honor, man. And we've done it because we were able to be flexible. We've been able to take it on the chin several times and just keep going. Like we can't worry about the things we can't control. Like you said, people can't worry about the jobs they can't get. You have to focus on the jobs you can and just start there. And if you're not happy where you're at, you got to try to use it as a stepping stone to get to a place where you're at. And certainly I feel for the 5 of us now in the band, we all understand where our lives have been, where our lives are, and, where we want to be in the future. And when you have that together collectively, it looks for a recipe of certainly progress. And obviously we all want to have success. We all want to take that next step, whatever that may be, and giving ourselves an opportunity to do that with living together. That means it requires a lot of time to be with each other. So with that said, hopefully that, we're giving ourselves the tools here to be around for a long time and to progress and to challenge each other. And I know the 5 of us are brothers, and we're definitely excited. Certainly Hayley's going to be missed, as Chachi was missed, the drummer before her. It's a bummer, but this I think what fans don't always understand is the modern day rock star now is taking the lumps. I mean, the demand that rock bands have to stay on tour, to be able to make money consistently so you can live, not only just invest back into your project. It's very real. And we get a lot of questions for bands that are on the come up. And is there any advice? And the advice is you have to do what you have to do financially to stay in business. You have to, just like any business, right? You have to be able to make sure you can keep the lights on. And that's something that we've understood now for a long time. And we have to make sure that at the same time, we balance that line, which is giving our fans the best product and the best experience they can have when they come see Pop Evil. And certainly our live show, we constantly try to make better and better. It's something we pride ourselves with. And we feel like we've only tipped the iceberg, because since COVID, we've had to take a couple steps backwards to move forward. But you know what? We see the light at the end of the tunnel, and this looks like we're poised to, have an amazing new album here, and the guys behind it and our crew are definitely strong and poised to make that next step. So we're looking forward to that.
I've had many musicians on the show say that you don't pay us for the 2 hours we're on the stage. We would do that for free. You pay us for the 22 hours a day that we're in hotels. Even Alex Lifeson from Rush said that he's not interested in going out on the road because he just sits in a hotel and waits for hours and hours to go to work, and he's not interested.
No, I get it. There's a part of me, look, tours right on the horizon for me once you get back in the real world. And again, talking about COVID, it stems back to that. A lot of band members, musicians were, for the first time in their life, for me included, that I was off for that much time. We had to find new jobs. We had to find different means to make ends meet, and a lot of us decided not to come back, which I think is a credit to the band members and musicians who have, because it tells the fans that we do love them. We need that itch, right? It's not just about the money. It's not just about being miserable and lonely at times, like you said in the hotel. What craves us is the drug that is the fans. That cheering, the screams, singing the songs back to you is an addiction you cannot get anywhere else. You can't, again, you're not bringing that money with you. But when it's all said and done, you're going to have those memories of what it was like to have the fans, that family, that brotherhood, that sisterhood that is there waiting with smiles, front row, all the way back, that are buying the tickets, that are going, that are relying on you to tour, and so they can see you live, so they can get through to day, and even us musicians, the day-to-day struggles, the mental health issues that we deal with, it's a trade, right? Like the fans need us to help with their mental health. We need them to help with our mental health. So yeah, if you're fortunate enough and in the heyday eras where bands made the financial, and they have the financial freedom where they can choose to maybe, hey, I don't want to be lonely in a hotel room anymore. I don't want to do it. Kudos to them, but for bands like us and people like me, I'm willing to make those sacrifices to be alone, away from my friends and family, to be lonely, miserable, but to be there, because the payout is show day. When you get to see those fans, you get to hear those screams, you walk out and you get to hear them singing your songs back to you, whether you're in Australia or whether you're in Massachusetts, man. It's a rush that you can't explain. And it's something that drives musicians in general. And those of us that are here and are touring musicians, it's something that is very much a necessity, and it's essential to us, making new music and getting out there and touring, and have a reason to do it all over again. One successful tour means, oh man, we got to do it again. We got to get out there and climb. So it's definitely real. And I can understand at the same time where it can be lonely and very demanding. And I can understand why someone might not want to do it. But at the same time, I understand those people with the fire in their belly, like me, and I know my band members who want to get out there and very much need it. Like there needs to be a certain tour schedule for me yearly, just so I can breathe. I don't want to be in the real world full time. It's not fun. It doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it's like seeing your family. We're like, why do you want to go through a whole year without seeing your mom and dad or your kids or your brothers and sisters? Same thing with us. Our fans are our family. Like, why do I want to go a whole year without seeing as many of you as possible? So it's, at least for me, that's kind of where my head's at.
You bring up mental health, and what's interesting is I've had conversations with a lot of artists, everybody from Jacoby Shaddix from Papa Roach, Brent Smith from Shinedown, Corey Taylor, Lizzie Hale. I never in a million years would have thought that it would have been the rock and metal community that would have been on the forefront of opening up the discussion about mental health and suicide prevention and addiction, because the way that artists are willing to open up and discuss really private, personal things to help the fans, us, is an unbelievable thing. And this shift over the last few years, like you said, due to COVID and beyond, it's unbelievable. And I know as a music fan how helpful it is to hear that other people have the same struggles.
Yeah, I mean, you think about why we're rock metal fans in the first place, right? Like there was something relatable, there was something timeless about what people were saying. You think about from 70s to 80s to 90s, the way rock, at least for me, and I'm sure you can relate, and I know the fans do, there was something that the lyrics were doing that were honest. It wasn't about shot. So it wasn't, rooted in pop about what's going on in the moment. It was about dealing with real issues and real things that so even when rock wasn't and musicians weren't necessarily openly talking about it, like it was in their music, and then of course when we started losing great ones based off these issues, I mean, it really shook us all. It shook the community. It shook us as fans, from a musician standpoint and people that are making music. It really was like, wow, those are people now that we grew up idolizing, that now we can't not only tour with, but now we can never even go see them again. You're like, what is going on here? Why are we losing? Why is our genre of music losing some of our great pioneers? Like, what is going on here? So it just kind of really opened the door for us to be like, wow, like number one, we're not alone. Like, okay, wow, if he's feeling that, I kind of feel that too, or she's feeling that. And that's someone I looked up to on a stage higher than me. Wow. And they're a lot more like me. And I think social media kind of opened the door, right? Like when you can kind of see interviews like this, you can get to see a musician that you hear on the radio or you see on TV or YouTube now, and you can hear them talking off stage, and you can see that they're a lot similar to you and they have the same likes and tastes and differences that you do. It really hits home, and it hits home for us as artists. The meet and greets have changed it, right? Like now meet and greets are paid and essential part of touring. Like people want to get a picture with you. They want to see you. They want to talk to you. They want to tell you that their song changed your life. And we get that pretty regularly on a touring basis where it changes you. Think about it. If someone was telling you that something you did stopped them from thinking about suicidal tendencies, I mean, it shakes you. Like you have to take every one of those comments seriously. And you when you visualize that, like someone was literally thinking about ending their life, that's serious. And your music, your voice, your brand stop them from doing that. I mean, how does that not make you want to help more? How does that make you not? And obviously bands like you mentioned, Papa Roach, Shinedown, the list goes on. I mean, those guys have been iconic for years. They've been around, certainly when we were growing up trying to be in a band, those were the bands that we were listening to. So to be able to have them motivate us to have them still around, for fans now that listen to Shinedown and Papa Roach that have kids that are growing up, letting their kids listen to them, their kids are finding them. I mean, it's real life. And I think that's the beautiful thing about rock, the beautiful thing with radio rock bands, especially. It's not about just the music. It's about the life story that is behind the music, right? Like music comes out, like it's all about, and you've been like yourself included. I mean, you're an icon, I mean, Mistress Carrie, I remember when I first, it came, we do interviews constantly. And when it came up, even before I knew who you were, it was like, Mistress Carrie, you don't understand, like her lineage, like she is real deal. She is a pioneer. She's been around. like, and your story even, to talk to you and the people that you've talked to, the people that you have influenced and the people that you have helped brand, right? I mean, with your interviews, obviously knowing you more now, and to see how people act around you, and to see how the Shinedown camp, when we tour Shinedown, how they're around you, how much love they have for you. It's a part of their story. Obviously, you're a part of mine, but to see that, it's hard not to be affected in positive ways, to be like, wow, like, these people like you at radio, it's not even about anymore. And obviously now you're doing radio in so many different ways now with social media and how you brand, but it's so much more than just music and radio stations. And if you're playing the records, it's about community, right? It's about people, like, and you know, especially when it comes to Massachusetts. I mean,
all of
DJs
New England.
like you, all in New England,
Yeah.
The East Coast in general, like, it's different, man. And I don't know how to explain it. Other than the fact that, like, when you do interviews with people around the country, around the world, there's something about the East Coast pride that is very real. And, I remember Boston even before, because obviously I related to sports. I mean, the only thing I knew about Boston previously was through sports, right? And I'm from Michigan, so everything about Michigan hates East Coast sports. I mean, we hate New York, and we hated both y'all. So it didn't matter. Your competition was like, look at it. It was Tigers. It was just all about the Tigers. So, and of course the Tigers weren't great compared to Boston and New York. So, to see now how that East Coast has embraced music, like, I get it. The pride, like, you have. I remember my first birthday I had in Boston. Actually, people wanted to take me to get a cannoli. I was like, oh, come on, man, Mike. So what are you talking? They're fighting about me. These different. Of course, to this day now, Mike is my jam, dude. I got to go get an Oreo.
What's so funny?
That's my shit. It's just. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you know what's so funny is that last week was the Boston Marathon, and John Connolly from Seven Dust ran. And I took him out for Italian food after the race, and I took him out for cannolis at Mike's.
I love it, man. It's just the pride that you guys have for everything, food, sports, music. It's just, you can't help now to this day. I think about my fans on the East Coast. They make me smile, man. Like, up through Maine, like you said, where we're coming. Maine is becoming such a huge staple for pop people, and it's been excited to see it grow. I remember thinking about my first times to Maine, having to get myself a fresh lobster, and nowadays I've been trying to eat more vegetarian, just because I want to be safe. I want to be healthy because I want to be able to tour as long as possible. And I'm not going to lie, I miss my barbecue, but every now and then I'll eat some fish still because I got to get.
Lobster's not going to kill you.
Yeah, exactly. So, but I think about my early times to Maine, and I'm from Canada originally, so my family would drive in, to see us in Maine and how beautiful it is. And Maine, very similar to Michigan, right? It's a lot about the water. Obviously, the lake and the ocean are different, but it's the same kind of vibe: beautiful green, lush, vegetation wherever you're at. Obviously, we live for 3 months out of the year. That's all we get. That's all we get. This warm, similar to Boston, but it is what it is. But it's just getting back to the musicianship and what is rock and what is metal and what it means to the East Coast and what the East Coast means to us is just it's pride and it just oozes with us. And whenever time a sporting event comes up or one of our teams here in Michigan are playing someone on the East Coast, and they're hating, it's a little bit of a check. Wait a minute. Let's think about before you start hating. Let me tell you about Boston. Let me tell you about even New York, and let me tell you the pride. And they're like, really? It's like that? Like, I thought they'd hate y'all. I'm like, no. It's just, but see, people are naive, man. When you live and you haven't left, and there's a lot of my friends that haven't gotten out of Michigan, man. They just stay here and they do their thing, and that's fine. They're great people, but they're not thinking more outside of that sports landscape, much like I was before, I got on the scene. But it's just, there's so much pride, and there's so much pride that we both have. Actually, we were just talking about, we wanted to run the Boston Marathon, even if I didn't finish, just to say I did. It's just, come on. It's so iconic, man. And there's just so many things in Boston on the East Coast, up through Maine, through Connecticut into Maine, so many stories, so many memories. And to be able to share some of those with you and to have those with these fans, it's part of the reasons why we look forward to touring. It's pockets like this around the country that make the tour. It's those ones you highlight on the tour. They're like, oh my gosh, I can't wait. Maine's going to be insane. Let's highlight that one. Oh my gosh, we're getting back to, because we don't get to Boston a lot. So whenever we do, it's like circle that one, you know what I mean? And even if the crowd's small, because we haven't played there a ton, if you're going to be there, Carrie, then it's like circle that one. That's going to be, at least I'll see Carrie for the day. So it's just, but the way the band's been growing in New York and Boston, the big cities are tough. When we came up, the era we came up, Boston, LA, New York, they were always a bit tougher just because radio was changing, and being a radio band, it was always a little challenging. But to see the growth now in these markets, and to see us climb still doing it all these years, and having the role models, like you said, you mentioned Papa Roach and Shinedown, having those guys as role models, and if they could still be around for a long time and still growing, it's great to have those bands. And the bands that we lost with those key those icon musicians that we lost because of these mental health issues is very serious, and it's something that we want to try to do and educate these youthful kids that are still getting it, that might be those next iconic musicians in the future. If we can, remind them that, hey, it's okay to be vegetarian here. You don't have to drink. You don't have to party the way that they did back in the night. We learn from that. You don't have to be, if you focus out here, rather than focus on the things that are negative mental health wise, if you can focus that energy on trying to focus on being positive, like, hey man, let me inspire someone, let me get out there, then hopefully it can shift. We can see a little bit of shift in hopefully our career and our lifetime as musicians, to shift that for the next generation of kids that might be coming up, that might be able to say, rather than focusing on the depression, let's focus on the positive things. And it's okay. Just because we wear black and we like heavy music and we like to get in a mosh pit doesn't mean we can't look at life from a positive way, glass half full rather than half empty approach. And, and put on our hat a little differently to get out there and give someone a hug, man, and give them a high five and see them in the meet and greet, and take it with a grain of salt rather than shy away from these people and hide up on our stages and try to be too cool behind the stage. Just get out there and hug somebody, man. And what's that stat they said, even from a president, right? If you go out there and you touch somebody, handshake somebody, that that everyone who you touch has probably got a good chance they're going to vote for you, right? So it's the same mentality that you have as a musician. The more people you can get out there and high five and point and look at and give a hug to or make some eye contact with in a meet and greet, it matters. It matters, man. It makes a difference. People are listening. They're out there and they're watching. And, it's important to understand that and to just be yourself, man.
I can't let this slip by. You mentioned wanting to run the Boston Marathon. I am putting this challenge out there for you, Leigh.
Will you go with me?
I've already run it. I ran it 5 years ago.
I love it.
But I work with a lot of charities that get bibs, and I myself ran for a charity 5 years ago. I will put this challenge out there, I will help get you a bib for the Boston Marathon if you want to run it next year. You heard it right here first. You got a year to decide.
I'm open. I don't know if I can do 25 miles, but I'll try.
26.2.
Oh my God, there you go. 27 miles, man. Wow. I'm down. If you give me a bid, I want to definitely try.
I can help get you a bib. You got to raise money for charity. John Connolly's such a beast. Mark Tremonti had him run for charity last year, and he ran so fast. He qualified this year.
Wow. Tremonti did?
Yeah, no, John Connolly.
Oh, Connolly. Yeah. Sometimes he's a beast for sure. Yeah.
Beast.
Wow, that's still incredible. Man.
I was with him after the race this year. He was so mad that he didn't feel he ran as well as last year, and he took 3 minutes off last year's time. I'm like,
oh my gosh, he's a stud. That's amazing.
So
how much time did he do to finish it? How long did it take him?
I think it took him like 3 hours and 22 minutes.
Wow.
It took me 6 hours, 24 minutes, and 50 seconds, but I finished.
You know what? If I did that, I would be, just like you said, a personal accolade to just do that and finish would be unbelievable. So yeah, you see what you can do with a bid. I definitely want it. If I don't do it next year, I want to do it at some point. So
put it on the bucket list, Leigh.
Let's shoot for next year. I'm down. I want to do that.
All right, I got to ask you about the new record because you keep hinting about it, and I'm not doing my job if I don't try to pry you open like a clam and get all of the inside info.
I'm easy to pry open, too. I'm not good with secrets. But no, it's awesome. The new single's done. We're super excited about it. It's insane. What's
the timeline? Give me the timeline.
We're trying to hope that maybe a single, at some point this summer.
Okay.
Is what the goal is. As far as the album, I don't know. I hate everything nowadays, right? So it's like, I gotta go back to let's go do this, do that, And I know that the band's been stoked. I'm getting ready to get my sessions with Joey and Blake actually here coming up on tour, and then after. So again, I'm just trying to turn over every stone and write with as many people as possible, and just get any kind of idea out that can kind of walk that line, old school pop evil, but at the same time be open to where we want to be in the future. So
I just talked to Chris Jericho about this whole thing, about the idea of not being in the full album business anymore and releasing singles instead of that, so that you can release music on your timeline as opposed to when you get this batch of songs ready to go. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely talked about it, and this is our last album on our record deal here with the label, so we're going to see where we go in the future. But look, as a fan, to make a full album is still, I mean, I'm old school, so I definitely want to do that because I think it's cool for the fans that come see us live on tour to be able to, to get the vinyl or to get the album dialed in when you have it. But I do think it's unique. What I'd want to do is do a few songs at a time, right? You release a single, maybe a couple songs. Then, by the time a year, maybe a year and a half goes by, you've released 9 to 10 songs. Then you put the album out. Now people want to buy album because to me, I'd rather buy an album when I know more of the songs, right? I don't just want to buy an album from scratch. I don't know the songs. Otherwise, I'm listening to 1 or 2 songs at a time. I don't appreciate, the other art until I'm ready to appreciate it, right? So I think it would be an awesome opportunity for us as fans to take some of that money we would have to put and release an album, to put it into the songs, the 1 or 2 of them that you're putting in now, so fans can get all of it, right? They can get the videos, they can get the other unique kinds of content that you release to hype it up, to get people excited about it. I mean, that's fun for us, right? When you can take a concept, which is your song, and you can live in it as long as possible, visually, sonically, creatively with your fans. And the more they can involve, the longer it lasts, the longer your career is. It's pretty simple, right? But it's interesting to see how it's changing, and it doesn't matter anymore about albums, and it certainly doesn't matter at this very second. You could do singles, but fans don't care. They want music when they like it. They add it on their playlist. There they go. But obviously there's a business standpoint, labels and managers, and how that all works, and you want to justify all that, and then you're an artist, right? So it's your art. So collectively, you need pockets of time where you can create, and then you have to go tour. So you want to make the most of the time that you have off to be creative once you're feeling it. Because for me personally, I've had to separate it, right? Family time, tour time, writing time. And, I don't work well. I don't work well mixing them. I'm on touring and I'm going to try to write, or I'm with my family. I want to try to be creative and write. Like, I don't want to do that. It's certainly from a family perspective, it's not fair. They've waited I mean, how long is their career? Almost 20 years. They've waited 20 years for us to be ready to have time for them. And, now, and it gets back to even, parts of what Hayley and other band members leaving, like only they know what's best for their own family, right? Only you know what's best. Only you know what you've missed, right? Even though you get to tour and you see the world and it's a blessed life, there's a part of it that you miss being in the real world, right? You miss birthdays, you miss Christmases, you missed life events that you earn some other ones, but it's hard to enjoy those musical life accomplishments and achievements when your loved ones aren't there with you to partake or to enjoy in them, right? When your band members are there, they've already had so many moments with you. It's kind of like, yeah. So sometimes, it can be, like you said, lonely. It's a little lonely that even if you have those career milestones, or you sold millions, or, you sold out the show and there was 1 million people there, does it really mean anything if the loved ones aren't there with you to enjoy that or see that, and you're just going from empty room to hotel and, all you see? At some point, it can really mess with your mind, right? So having a mix of that when you do get family time to really enjoy that, or when you do have time to write, not be thinking about tour, it changes it, right? And you can feel like you're your best self in those moments. So for me, I know that's how I work the best. That's how I get the most efficient things done. That's how I get the best results. So, being able to put out singles would be very appealing in that way. And, as it gets further down the line and we're able to be, blessed enough to create more music, it'll be interesting to see, like Chris was saying, like Jericho was saying, that, yeah, singles. And I don't blame him if he's starting to do that now. Makes sense to me. He's got to do what's best for him off the stage. We already know what's best for all of us on the stage, right? It's bringing it every night. And obviously Jericho does that every night and he crushes it. So if he knows what's best for him off the stage is putting out singles, I think he should do that.
You talk about the fact that it almost took my breath away that it's been almost 20 years for Pop Evil, right? It's crazy. And I bring it up because this week we found out who's getting into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And the benchmark is 25 years from the date of your first release, which The fact that the bands that I came up with in my career are now like eligible for induction in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is kind of insane. Like last week, I hit 26 years on the air, and I'm like, it's crazy.
Carrie, that's unbelievable. I mean, and the fact that you're still growing right with bands like us and even younger bands, these newer generation, like a part of the generations of rock you've been a part of and influenced is humbling, man. It's awesome to be a part of your story as much as it's awesome to have you a part of mine.
Talk about the amount of rock that's getting in this year. We got Ozzy in this year as a solo artist. We got Foreigner in finally. Peter Frampton's in.
Wow.
It's
obviously all you had to say
time.
was Ozzy. All you had to say was Ozzy for me, and I mean that was obviously the rest are amazing too. But Ozzy, he's been I've played, I've been fortunate enough to play some shows with Ozzy, and no one more deserving, no one that's created so many stories on and off that stage and just kept the interest. I mean, wow. And for his family and for him, I mean, wow, it's awesome, man. I mean, I'm surprised he's not even there sooner, right? I mean, I don't think there's a Rock Hall of Fame that exists without Ozzy. So it's a huge honor, I'm sure, for him and his family. And it's definitely well-deserved.
He's a dual inductee. He got in 2006 with Black Sabbath,
but
this time is as a solo artist. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
And
that's
for
right.
better or worse, helped to create a whole genre of television because the Osbournes were so instrumental in creating reality
I'm sure he's TV Hall of Fame next.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Right? So Saturday night, you're going to be in Portland, Maine on the Flesh and Bone tour at Aura, which in Portland, Maine, Aura,
it's awesome.
It's such a great venue.
It is. No doubt about it. It's almost got theater vibes too and club vibes all in one. It's just like a great location too, compared to the city. I mean, I always try to get out and walk around Maine and just take it in because it's just, again, it's one of those cities that I never thought of that I would enjoy as much as I do. And that's kind of touring for me now, right? It's not sitting on a tour bus or being in the dressing room. Again, every band member is different, but I like to get out and see the town. And obviously, if things are close, to get out and walk if it's a nice day is always great. And just take in the culture. And it just adds to the experience when you get up on that stage and you can relate to your fans and your audience even that much more. So Aura is no joke. It's awesome. If you're on the fence, what are you waiting for? Come see us. It's going to be amazing on the weekends. Spring's here. Let's go.
And there's tons of but Portland's a great food town.
Oh,
and
so
Aura's right there. You can walk around. There's tons of great places to eat. It's awesome.
Yes, I might have to sneak in and get a lobster on that day too, man. It's just too much history. I got to get it done.
Well,
so maybe I'll eat salad. I'll eat salad the day before.
I talked to Gavin Rossdale about his love of lobster rolls, and it's very specific. Yeah. It's got to be on an old school New England split top toasted hot dog bun.
Gavin would know. You would know.
No fancy brioche buns. It's got to be on a hot dog roll the way it belongs.
I love it. He would know, man. He's got experience knowing where the best places to eat, so he knows what's up.
Yeah, he's quite the foodie, but he knows what's up.
I love it. Well, he must be doing something right because the last time I played with him, he was jacked up. He looked great, man. He was all, he looked like he's 20 years old, man. He looks awesome. So he's doing something right. There you go. That's the trick. I got to get a couple of those in that day.
Leigh, it was so good to see you.
Carrie, it's always great seeing you. And you know what? I'm kind of glad you're not coming because I'd have you bring me some Mike pastries. So that would be good.
I'm so bummed that I can't make the show on Saturday. I was telling you when we got on that I have to be at another show in another city and I can't go. And I'm so bummed. But you know damn well that if I were coming, that there would be a box of Mike's pastry waiting for you. You know this.
I would be so grateful, and I would just be. And that night, I would definitely be mad at you there because I would have eaten the whole box. I'm sure by that. So, but I would have loved you the same way. I would have been like, I love Carrie, I hate Carrie. As I'm just laying in the back of the tour bus, like cannoli crumbs all over the chest. It would have been great.
You can eat all the cannolis you want if you finish the Boston Marathon. I'm just saying.
You know what? That's a good goal. That's a good goal. I like what you're talking about.
Leigh,
I love that. No, you're tempting me now, man. You get me involved to do it. That's the motivation I might need to get it done. Like you helping me push the button to be like, Leigh, you're doing it. That's it. I'm like, okay, I got to go. Let's go.
I'm going to talk to you later this year when they start registering people for the race for next year. I'm going to call you and be like, are you ready? I'll put you on a text thread with John Connolly from Seven Dust. He'll be like, do it. Do it.
Can you walk at all? Can you just like?
Yeah,
No, I'm kidding,
trust me, I had to walk some of it. Yeah.
So did you walk them? Okay, cool. Because
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll have to get the training. We'll see where that'll be right around release time for the album. So I don't know how much training, but that's too easy. You just got to do it. You just got to go. You just got to go.
Finish
Don't overthink.
line, not finish time. Finish
That's it.
line, not
That's it.
finish time.
I'm not going up against Conley. I'm not trying to break his records. He's got it. He's got it covered. He's safe. He's safe.
I'll see you
it. soon.
I can't wait to hear the new stuff.
Oh, thank you so much, Carrie. Absolutely love you to death. Be
Love
safe.
you
Have
too.
a great spring until I see you soon.
I will.
And hopefully sooner than later.
There he is, Leigh Kakaty from Pop Evil. You can see the band live this Saturday night, April 27th, at Aura in Portland, Maine. For the rest of the tour dates, just go to the show notes of this episode. You'll find all of Leigh's links and all the Pop Evil links. You'll also find all the Mistress Carrie links and the link to this episode's corresponding playlist. I make a playlist for every full-length episode of the Mistress Carrie podcast that features all of my guest music and all the songs and artists that we referenced in the interview. You'll also find the links to Leigh's last 2 appearances on the show. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe to the Mistress Carrie podcast. New full-length episodes come out every Wednesday. Plus, every weekday, you get the sit rep. All of your rock news, music headlines, and entertainment updates in around 5 minutes. And you never know when we're going to release a bonus episode. You can join me live every Tuesday night at 8:30 on my official Facebook page, Instagram, YouTube channel, and Twitch for my weekly streaming video show, Cocktails in the War Room. And you can always find me on the radio. Get the details on all of that and more at MistressCarrie.com. The Mistress Carrie Podcast, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network.